I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus I was evil. I never shook baby.
So LA's on fire yet again. Jim Clark, I brought this up during the fires, but when I tweeted about it, Jim Clark was like, "Man, y'all are always on fire," and now it's on fire again. So,
True. Why are you guys on fire all the fucking time?
I don't know, man. It's I won't talk much about the protests and stuff, but I will say this: a quick, funny little story. So one of my roommates is a photographer. His day job is working at a photography store, but on the side he does gigs and he takes photos of different things. So he was Sunday night, he came home and his eyes were all like red and teary, and I was like, "Hey man, so what's going on with you?" And he goes, "Oh, I was at the protests in downtown." And I was like, "Geez, what happened, dude?" He goes, "Yeah, I got hit with tear gas twice. I was trying to get some good shots, but I just kept getting gassed. So I was like, all right, I'm going home." But he's pretty I mean, he's a good guy, but he's pretty forgetful. I don't know if he intended to go there, or if he was just like, "Oh, I was just walking around downtown and then I forgot that there was riots going on." So so this is impacting me.
Yeah,
I'm one of the victims of this too, Ben. So
yeah, I just like I know LA's a big city, but at what point is it just like enough already? Like the constant and I mean, I guess it died down for a few years there, a couple of years there, but it's just like, my God, it's always something. For regular people, just have to kind of like get around and live their life, and like I just don't get why you guys put up with it. I don't get.
Yeah.
I know you love LA.
Yeah.
I just don't know why. Like, why do you want to deal with that shit all the time?
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun having a front row seat to history. So in some regards, at least when you're not getting burned to a crisp, or getting Molotov cocktails thrown at you, or tear gassed, or having your car flipped over, or having somebody spray painting a beloved mural in your community or something, or you're getting robbed or stuff like that. Yeah, if you're willing to endure all that and all those risks, then yeah, LA is pretty nice. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. It's just not for me. Like,
yeah.
And this is also one of those things. It's like, this isn't even popular. This feels like it's such a minority of people that just create such a mess.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what comes of all this. I don't see the movement taking place like it did in 2020, not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going off, what I always say is, like, if you went off of my Instagram stories, like people I follow, Kamala Harris would have won 40 states and won the 80% of the popular vote.
Yep.
Like, but that's not real life. Like, that's not like people. And I saw polls that are like, some of the biggest proponents of deportations and Trump's handling of the immigration are like immigrants.
Yep.
They're like first generation immigrant citizens.
Yep. A lot of Latinos are in favor of it.
Tons of it. Like, that's what I mean. And I'm sorry, running like, and again, the Democrats are doing the same dumb shit with like saying it's peaceful, saying you have Maxine Waters, you can barely talk, running around, and meanwhile they're split screened with cars on fire. And what's so funny to me, it's like California is such a pro-environmental place, all these regulations, and then it's like, what are all those black plumes of smoke going up in the air, and you have your dumbass governor over there being like, "Oh no, it's not bad. Like, don't believe." It's just, I don't know. This doesn't have to be a political episode. We're doing something else. I mean, maybe it'll be political, but it just seems exhausting.
Yeah. And you're right about how the Democratic Party is really going through the same playbook over and over. So I don't know if you saw, I retweeted this from Jarvis, who's always hilarious. He said, there are no riots, and the riots are good, and the riots are bad, and are Trump's fault. And you must believe all three of these things at the same time, or you're a fascist.
Yeah, Jarvis is good.
I
don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this. But it just seemed like people have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
And But I don't know. I'm sure the Republicans will squander it too somehow. This great opportunity that they had coming in on this wave and all this popular support, and they haven't done all too much with it. But the things that they have done, which I like and are popular, are immigration things. Like that's really where they've done the most. So anyway, getting into our main topic of the day. This is something you wrote.
Yeah, so this is an article I wrote. I haven't published it yet. I shopped it around to a few different publications and to no avail. So it'll just go right to the TRM at some point soon. Yeah, right. Number 5. So I'm not a fan of video games. Ben, are you much of a gamer at all?
No, not at all. I was growing up. I actually like grew up, we grew up in the best video game era, which was like hanging out with friends, playing N64, and like Mario PlayStation, Kart. Mario Kart. Like that was great. And then even the era like right after that, which was like Xbox Live, more online. Like I was still playing with my friends. It would just be we were at each other's like at our own homes, but it was still like a communal thing where. Then it really got into the RPGs, which I think you're going to talk about here. But to answer your question, no. I have like one of those arcade systems in my house.
Yeah.
It was a wedding gift. Shout out, Mom. Yeah. But I don't have like a PS, what is it now, 5 or Xbox or anything like that. So no.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer either. I mean, like you said, I played it a fair amount when I was a kid, but not in recent years. So the reason why I wrote this article is a friend pointed this out to me, and also I was looking for something that was maybe a little more underground, like maybe something that was like, hey, there's this thing that's kind of popping up online, and I haven't seen anybody else covering it, and also just the general idea of fictosexuality, which we'll get into here. That's why I wrote this article. Nice,
sounds fun.
So the game that's kind of the focal point of this piece is called Baldur's Gate 3. So it's actually set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I read about it for this. I'd heard Baldur's Gate for years. I didn't know what it was though.
Yeah. So I'll just dive into the article a bit, and then Ben, you just kind of chime in whenever.
I always do.
Astarion has only been around since 2023, but he's already made sweet, passionate, bloody love to the imaginations of countless women, like some kind of digital Adonis. Making his debut in Larian Studios' role-playing video game Baldur's Gate 3, Astarion became an instant hit with fans for his wry personality, tragic backstory, and the dulcet tones of British voice actor Neil Newbon. The fact that he's a vampire only adds to his sexuality. It's no secret that many women are drawn to the bloodsucker archetype, hence the popularity of the Twilight franchise. Well, real quick, so Jordan Peterson has highlighted like the 3 main archetypes, and is like vampires, werewolves, and pirates that women apparently just fall in love with. So yeah, I'm gonna start dressing as a pirate. It's Jack Sparrow going Friday night.
I mean, you would fit right in, and no one would bat an eye in your neighborhood. No, dude, can I say something real quick? No joke. So I worked at a liquor store for years, so I saw all types of characters come. When you work at a cash register, you really meet all sorts of people. It's a great experience for however people also bitch at you about everything. It's like I don't control the prices, but still. But there's a guy who would come in, a regular, really nice guy. He lived in the downtown where I lived, and in the town I lived in, and he like dressed like a pirate. Like he, not full outfit, not like a costume. It wasn't like that. Like the what was that episode of Bar Rescue? You ever seen the pirate episode? Oh, dude, do you know what Bar Rescue is?
No.
You don't know what Bar Rescue is?
No, what is that?
Okay, it's a show where a guy basically fixes up fledgling bars, right? There's this one episode that's basically legendary. Like it's a very entertaining show. It's been on forever. I don't even know if it's still on, but there's this pirate bar in Maryland, and it's just like just go straight, go watch it. You don't need any context for anything else.
Yeah,
it's just great sloppy television.
Nice.
So anyway, yeah, this guy, and I remember this guy's super nice. I think he was a makeup artist for and because I lived in a town that you could commute into New York City. So I think he was like in the theater area and theater career, and because you talk about he'd do makeup for like stars, like A-list celebrities. But anyway, and I remember one guy being like, Captain Jack. I was like, dude, give him a break. But anyway, yeah. So it worked for him though. You could pull it off.
Yeah. As expected, numerous online groups dedicated to Astarion have popped up since he was spawned, including a massive amount of fan fiction dedicated to him, much of it filled to the brim with graphically gory yet consensual sex scenes.
That is how 50 Shades started.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it was a tribute to
Twilight.
fanfic. Twilight. Yeah.
It was Twilight fanfic, and then just they took the vampire parts out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Fan fiction, or fanfic, isn't new. Plenty of hardcore fans have written unofficial stories about their favorite series, such as Harry Potter, Star Wars, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In this hyper-progressive era, many of these stories have portrayed existing characters as homosexual, bisexual, or in polyamorous relationships. But in the fanfic featuring Astarion, the fanfic featuring Astarion has exceeded mere sexual fantasy. In fact, women are increasingly eschewing relationships with real men altogether in favor of relationships with Astarion. This is known as fictosexuality, because every week we just need a new type of sexuality, and that pride flag needs to get fucking uglier and uglier with each iteration. Yeah. This is known as fictosexuality, which is sexual attraction to fictional characters. Because people who describe themselves as fictosexual are often exclusively attracted to fictional characters, fictosexuality is frequently amalgamated with asexuality. But then again, sexuality is such an amorphous concept in this looking glass world, so it's only a matter of time before some woke weirdos start an online war by splitting hairs with regards to fictosexuality. Apparently that did happen. I was almost I was going to do that in here as well in this article, but I was like, no, this is a long article. I don't need to. It's
it always does. The last thing I ever I kind of hate the term community when it comes to these sorts of things, because it's like I never hear it. I think maybe because from listening like Blocked and Reported, but like the communities never actually seem wholesome and like beneficial to its members. It always seems about like creating mini tribes within them and ruining people. And I don't know. I just have such an aversion to it now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really more akin to a cult. Because I mean, like, you know, it starts off as an obsession with this one thing. And everybody rallies around it. So at first it seems like a community, like, oh, like, you know, I'm kind of a weirdo, I'm kind of a nerd. There's this thing, there are other people like me who like this thing. That's cool. So we can nerd out over this. But then the purity tests start kicking in. Then it's like, well, so I don't think I mentioned it too much in here, but I was going through a lot of like Reddit stuff, and people are bickering because in the game, Astarion's this vampire, this hot, sexy, but you know, also kind of tragic vampire. And he's I believe he's like a sex slave for one of the characters in the game. So people will write fanfic about that, but then they start bickering about consent and about trauma. And your version, in my version of the story, he has more agency and therefore is less problematic than your. So they start bickering with each other.
Like, where are like the dragons and swords and shit? Why is it about like gay vampires? Like,
I don't know.
Isn't that like a Dungeons and Dragons thing? Like, where does this even come from?
I don't know. It's so funny, but you know, to your point about how like, you know, it's like, you know, the community aspect always degenerates into something much more depraved.
Yeah.
The benefits of being involved with a fictional character are obvious. If you're in a fictional relationship with someone who doesn't exist, you don't have to deal with the hangups, challenges, miscommunications, confusion, and expenses that come with being in a real romantic relationship. Sure, that person can't hug you, kiss you, or have sex with you. But with AI chatbots, such as Character AI, you can carry conversations with your partner without arguments and program them to cater to your every emotional need. Yeah, that's getting scary, especially recently when Mark Zuckerberg was talking about, I think he's talking about Meta and how that they can help with lonely people.
Well, I mean, obviously that's where we're going to head, right? Like we are going to get to the point where there will be human figures that can have, I don't know, transposed on them, if that's the right word. Like they'll probably be chipped with something or like they'll download some sort of personality. And I don't know. Like this is where, by the way, it's already started. Like the next wave of sci-fi movies are here. We had Megan and we had The Creator and the really good Artifice Girl that I don't think anyone saw but me. And we just had Companion come out this year. Like this is the next step, and that's fine. Like I like sci-fi should approach current technology and explore different avenues for it. But And obviously Her, which came out like 12 years ago, is an incredible movie, like an amazing movie. But in the end, like it depends. What's so funny is that they're doing the meme, which is, usually it's like a book. It's like, I wrote the book, don't do this thing. And then the tech entrepreneur is like, and we replicated, this thing from the book, don't do this thing. It's like, that's what they're doing. Like, that's what they always do. So, I mean, I don't know in our lifetime if we'll see it, kind of like for the average Joe, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe that we're going to get to the point where there are full relationships. People have full relationships with some like AI, like artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And then there will become all other sorts of legal issues and moral issues and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, like we've seen people having marriage ceremonies where they marry themselves. So
yeah, that's sad. That's really sad.
To many women, this alternative sure beats the hell out of guys who say are interested in hookups. Fictional characters will never will never yell at you, ghost you, reject you, dump you, or play games with you, unless you program them to it. That is.
Yeah.
Dip into. Oh yeah, and there was another thing I almost mentioned in here. It's where, but I think this was already kind of widely reported though about how some chatbot was getting non-consensually sexual with users.
Yeah.
So
it's great. This is fun. This will be a great life that we have here, exploring all this stuff.
Oh yeah. Dip into any Astarion subreddit, and you'll find a myriad of women expressing their extreme, often violent desire for him. One thread focused on images of Astarion, as one user stating, "I just die inside every time I look at this, and no, there isn't a man alive that can make me feel the things this man does." One thread that is called "Would Spawn Astarion enjoy public/semi-public sex?" and sees users debating the question, referencing a scene in the game in which he has sex in a graveyard. For clarification, Spawn Astarion refers to the type of vampire he can become in the game, with the other being Ascendant Astarion. As expected, each version has its own dedicated fandom.
Wait, this game has sex in it?
Yeah.
Like porn?
No. I don't think it's graphic. I don't think it's pornographic. I think it's like R-rated, so it's probably like mild nudity or some thrusting stuff. But I know there's a scene in the game where I think he either gets raped by a bear or has sex with the bear at some point.
What?
Yeah, so community. There's a whole sub community.
You mean like a literal bear or like a big hairy gay guy?
No, like an actual bear. Like, so it's bestiality. Yeah.
Dude, I watched some videos about, because I had no idea what any of this was.
Yeah.
But I watched some YouTube videos about Astarion. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't see it. Yeah. Like, I don't get it. What? Yeah. I mean, I would understand. Like, don't get me wrong. I think there are some. Like first of all, let me say none of this is really new in terms of, I think it's getting more realistic, but like there have been these sorts of relationships in Japan for years, like guys and women. There's something called yaoi, which is women reading mostly, and that's more like graphic novel stuff, but it's like young like boy love or whatever.
Right.
And the whole Sailor Moon and more like the same kind of reclusiveness though.
Yeah.
Where these Japanese people feel otaku, like they get enough out of these fictosexual relationships.
Yeah.
And I mean, now it's just getting to the point where it's more like that used to be kind of silly. It's like, it's a cartoon, but here now we're getting into more realistic figures, which will then, I believe, only like they will just become they will be placed into humanoid, android type figures. Right. And by the way, I wrote about all of this in my last two books. That's like a big part of those books.
Right.
Are this exact thing. And I wrote those 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I started them.
So you're basically a prophet, is what you're saying?
I mean, yes, but also, this is like the natural progression of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where, and I think you're saying it in your piece, it's you're taking it like relationships are hard. Like life is difficult as it is, and then to feel rejection, heartbreak. I think you can understand why people wouldn't want to feel those things. Now, my response would be, but like the good is so good, like that makes life worth living. Like that's such a cornerstone of life is feeling even like a good date with someone, let alone a marriage with children and the other memories that you make with those people. Like, and I do think that more people are only viewing the bad. Maybe they're jaded from bad experiences. I think a lot of women do suffer from sexual assault, sexual advances that can turn, if I can just have this sexy vampire fill my needs, not to worry about being harmed. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think the other parts are being, for this community are being overlooked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, as I touch on later in the piece, the last few years, we had COVID where it's just like, it made a lot of people, kind of get used to the idea of like, oh, being at home, like saying no to a social life. That's actually acceptable. It's totally fine. So yeah. There's another thread called Middle-Aged Astarion Obsessed Ladies, over 40, but still naughty, created by a user with the flair as Asturbation Addicts Anonymous. And on it goes.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I mean, it's like, when I was growing up, a lot of us had, like a lot of us teenage boys had a crush on like Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Just so funny to look back on how bad those graphics are. Now.
It's super pixelated.
Her boobs are like triangles and yeah.
I mean, her boobs look like Cybertrucks. Like,
oh, I had a huge. Have you seen the Scooby-Doo movie with the Hex Girls, the goth band? Tell you what, that did a number on my childhood.
Oh,
right. I have a Hex Girls t-shirt. My wife got it for me. They definitely shaped some of my dating preferences there for a little. Right. And there's her cartoon.
Yeah.
Dude, the Hex Girls are hot.
Yeah, but that's like when you're a kid.
I was like 9 or 10 probably.
I had a thing for Misty from Pokemon.
Yeah, Misty. She was. I remember. If we're talking cartoons, Kim Possible was hot too.
Right. This is a weird conversation. No, we were kids. When we were kids, it was more acceptable.
Sure.
But it's not just single women who have the hots for the immortal silver fox vampire, as married women are even confessing to secretly harboring a deep sexual attraction to Astarion. In one post, a woman wrote about how she and her husband went on a romantic weekend getaway, and while the two had sex, she had this amazing view of his butt pumping, and his hair was really messy and reminded me immediately of Astarion, and it awakened things in me, and now I feel super guilty. I love my husband so much. He's the love of my life, but what the fuck with the intrusive Astarion thoughts? I hate how much I like them. Do I need help?
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah. Fan art depicting Astarion looking tortured has developed a massive follower count as well. One digital artist posted a painting of the character and had users responding with such comments as, I spent way too much time staring at him, memorizing every line and detail on his face. And I had fan art of Astarion as the You Look Lonely hologram as my phone screensaver for months, a reference to a scene from Blade Runner 2049 in which Ryan Gosling's lonesome character is momentarily mesmerized by a massive nude holographic woman advertising an advanced AI product. Art imitating art. Of course, these subreddits are highly curated to ensure that only users who agree with the original poster can chime in. If you want to bash Astarion and those who salivate over him, you've got to go somewhere else. The hatred towards Astarion, ostensibly from men, has even inspired multiple threads created by Astarion fans who rag on his detractors bragging about killing the character in the game, called Steak Bros. One side of Baldur's Gate 3 fandom is comprised of single women who swoon over Astarion's curls and scars, and the other is comprised of those who hate him and his spellbound followers. Either way, it's safe to assume that the vast majority of these people aren't getting laid this Saturday night. But yeah, it's so funny. And then like this reminds me a little bit of like Gamergate, where it's like one side of this community does something, and then it pisses off the other side of that community, and then it just kind of keeps going back and forth. It's just like all the rage is just kind of like snowballing between them, you know?
Yeah, I think I think a lot of these people, this is just like their pastime.
Yeah.
And I do find it strange when you're on like the woman who's saying she was on a romantic getaway with her husband, and she like loved, this isn't a loneliness thing. She's literally has the the opportunity or the privilege to be able to go away on a romantic getaway, like whether if they have kids, if they got a babysitter and they can afford it, and she loves her husband, and she's still thinking about this fictional character. Like, it's not like she was thinking about a real actor or something. Maybe her husband resembles that actor, saw a movie or something with them, and there's a sex scene. Like, this is a fake person. But I was just looking at pictures of him because I'm like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
And I get like, the graphics have gotten much significantly better than Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Yeah, pointy boobs. But I still is like, it's not a person.
Yeah.
Well, like it's still clearly I think he even has like pointy ears, right?
Yeah.
It's still clearly a fictional, not just like fictional thing, but like, there could be a real person playing a fictional character, but still like a fake thing, like a fake creature. I don't know. I guess I think this does become sort of a hive mind type thing where someone, it's the internet. That's what these communities are about. Someone feels something and they go on and they find other people feel that way. Yeah. And then it becomes a larger part of their, word of the past decade identity. And they, like, when that happens, when you start using, like you jokingly said about the pride flag, like, no, like people take that extremely seriously.
Right.
And there's backlash to it, of course.
Yeah.
But people take that extremely seriously, where it's like, no, this is like part, like now the fictosexuality, like that's not just a pastime for me. Like that's part of who I am. Right. And then you start questioning that, you start criticizing that. That's like criticizing someone for their race or religion, or their actual sexuality.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was going to be something pretty groundbreaking too.
Well, I mean, parasocial relationships have existed for a while, and those have been like extremely unhealthy.
Yeah.
But those are like real people. Like people have a parasocial relationship with like a Taylor Swift or something.
Right. Right.
And that can actually be dangerous to the point of, sometimes people get killed.
Right. Oh yeah.
So maybe this is healthier in that respect. Like if they're having this fake relationship with,
they're not stalking people. Like
they're not stalking someone. They're not going to commit crimes for someone.
Right.
Like a Hinckley, what was his name? Hinckley Jr. or whatever. For Jodie Foster, wasn't that
right?
It?
That's right. Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, I mean, I'll look into this more as time goes on. I get, like, it's interesting enough where you would think that this would be fairly niche, but it seems like enough people, like, this is a thing that's on the internet. I saw on YouTube. I don't get it, but this feels like this is like a very, I think, like, there's going to be like a foundational type thing, a bedrock type thing of this next wave that's just going to be the rest of our lives.
Yep.
Of AI, and because obviously it's going to be monetized.
Yep.
If there could be tomorrow, the owners of Baldur's Gate, right? Whoever owns Astarion, is that his name?
Yeah.
Astarion, they would absolutely transpose his image and likeness and character traits, right? His personality onto a Android, if that was possible,
right? Yeah.
And charge a lot of money for it, and I'm sure people would buy it because it would not become someone's identity or big enough part of their happiness. They'll spend a lot of money on it. I just think that's where we're going. I think it's not good for society, but this is also one of those things. I don't know if people are happy, they're not hurting anyone. Isn't
Right.
like kind of what we want?
No, that's true. I mean, it seems to be doing more damage, and I use that term lightly, but like it seems like the worst of that it's doing is that it's encouraging a lot of women to, you know, give up on social life. But you know that it's not leading to like any serious addiction. It's not leading to like any like, you know, physical
Yeah.
threat towards anybody else. It seems just purely self-inflicted. Well,
Yeah.
to get back to what you're saying, where you're like, you know, wondering what the appeal is, and it's like, okay, sure, superficially, you know, he's he's ripped, and you know, he's a silver fox kind of guy, whatever. But like, in the story, and going back to those archetypes that Jordan Peterson brought up, that women are really attracted to, is that he's a tortured, sad monster because he's a vampire, but he's also brooding, and he's also like, you know, I've been a vampire against my will for centuries. But I do these terrible things. So there's like that sort of like, he definitely appeals to that sort of like, oh, I can fix him sort of thing, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah. Of course.
So like it's the story is I think a big part of the appeal of the character. It's not just, you know, how hunky he is.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I think, you know, I think some of the criticism would be, well, you're getting at like, it's not good for society. Like my view has been, and where I kind of am different than a lot of the typical right wing complaints about culture, where it's like, you know, Elon Musk is so obsessed with birth rates and all of these things. Like, first of all, right wing people have more children, they can continue to have more children. This is going to benefit right wing politics.
Right.
But like the people who aren't having children, they're not, like, if you don't want to be a parent,
Yeah.
you're not going to be a good parent.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So do we want a bunch of, and as someone who's like done domestic violence law, like I still practice domestic violence law, like we don't want more bad parents and bad situations. And maybe it's a broad term, but people who are resentful of their children or resentful of their spouse. Like we don't need any more of that. I think there's just enough of that as it is.
Right.
And if people like don't want to have children, that's fine. Like I don't understand like we should be helping the people who do more and prioritizing them and their children, because we do need that for society.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't like so getting back to this, it's like I don't think these women look. I think a bunch of men are dodging a bullet here.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I don't think these women who are going to have a norm, like maybe that one who's talking about, like she seems genuinely concerned.
Yeah.
Like this, do I need help? Is this normal? Like, sure, there's probably some of that, but I think a lot of these people, they're not going to be a good partner anyway if they're falling in love and being consumed by a fictional vampire.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's fine. I think it's actually a net positive.
Yeah. No, you might be right about that. If it's you know, thinning out the dating pool, if it's like weeding out the antisocial video game obsessed types.
Yeah. I know, like I think for like young men out there who might be listening to this, I know that can be daunting, and I do think dating has changed a lot.
Oh yeah.
Which I can't speak to because I'm married and I've been with the same person for you know, where are we now? We're becoming 4 years since our first date.
Yeah.
And only dating each other since. So I don't know how much it's changed since then, but even when I was dating, you know, dating can be both thrilling and really demoralizing.
Yeah.
But I think you like need to put yourselves out there and meet people, and you know, I think the good outweighs the bad. I think everyone is scared, like, to put it bluntly, because it's a scary situation. Rejection sucks.
Yep.
Especially when you're already not feeling great about yourself. Like, to be rejected does suck. And you know, it's good to try and find someone in maybe one of these communities. Who knows if that actually works?
Right.
But not everything has to be like a dating app. Which is how my wife and I met, but it might not be a dating app. It might not be like running into each other at a bar or through a friend, like it used to happen.
Yeah.
But I think people like just having a happier population, a more fulfilled population, whether they get that from their job, which I've always been like, I think that's sad if that's where all your happiness comes from.
Right.
A partner, a team, a gaming community, whatever it is. I think that's just kind of better for society overall than like forcing the same thing on everyone.
Right.
The church, like whatever it is. I know I'm dragging it, like I'm droning on here, but what I'm trying to say is like I think this can both, like I think the people who are into the Arcadian and Boulder, like if it wasn't, this would just be another thing. Like I don't think this would be like these people would be totally normal,
right? And
I don't mean to use that word pejoratively, but for Arcadian,
right,
or whatever. I keep forgetting this fucking
Astarion.
Like I don't think that he has this spell on people. Maybe a handful, but I think if it wasn't, it'd just be some other thing.
Right. Well, I think tying this into like the dangers of AI relationships, it's a dopamine hit. And I listened to Andrew Huberman a decent amount, and he's talked a lot about like the sort of like the quick hit of dopamine that you get from like watching porn or drinking alcohol or doing drugs, where it's sort of like I want to feel good, and I want to feel good right now. And like you were saying about dating, it's like, yeah, there are a lot of ups and downs, but the ups outweigh the downs. I'm not a neuroscientist, but when people fall into like this obsession with whether it's like OnlyFans or OnlyFangs, it's just dopamine hit after dopamine hit, and everything else in life seems really boring. So it's probably not very good for your brain chemistry to get all of your happiness from just.
No, it's not. That's not what I'm saying. I think you should. I think your life should be multifaceted and have many different avenues for happiness and feeling fulfilled. But I also think dopamine hits are like swiping on a dating app is a dopamine hit, and getting text messages from someone.
Dopamine hits aren't inherently bad, but you can also get dopamine hits from like working towards something productive too.
Absolutely. And I mean, like look at your I am that person. Like I'm always working on something. It's a book. I create a card game. I'll talk about it in a second. I'm researching for a big project I want to do. Like I am that person. I also get fulfillment from my family life, from my wife, my cats, like all sorts of stuff, right? Sports I follow, whatever it is. Of course, seeing friends. So I do like if the issue is people being kind of like monomaniacally obsessed with this fictional character, of course that's not healthy, but that would also be not healthy. I don't think it's healthy if you're monomaniacally obsessed with like the Chicago Bears, or whatever it is, obviously like pornography, or like basically you want. I mean, it's one of the. And I don't know if I've talked about this on this podcast, but how much like the Stoic virtues have played a role in my recent life. And the meditations by Marcus Aurelius, like one of the 4 Stoic virtues is temperance, like being like not just focusing on one thing, not letting something control, like being like understanding limits, and that's a huge aspect of life. So, but that goes for a lot. Again, I'm not like defending this by any means. I'm also trying to, look at it more as, well, is this harmless? Is this just a natural progression? This is just like the next thing. I think, there were stories of women back in the 19th century, I think, reading novels and getting obsessed with characters. And this has kind of always been a thing. There have been cults throughout history.
Right.
You know, I do think this is just, and like, is this, so that being said, if this is just the next progression in this, is it more dangerous or less dangerous than what humans have been doing this whole time?
Right. Right.
And you know, I think that you can't be a leech on society. I also don't think that we all need to be like worker bees. I think we need a balance. I don't think that's a healthy society either.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't want to experience those experiences that maybe, you know, we appreciate, or that are very fulfilling to me, so long as they're still contributing to society in some way, they're working, they're paying their taxes, right? This is how society goes. It's boring shit, but this is how society goes on. They're being good people. They're you know, what we have determined to be a good citizen or whatever that is. If they want to spend their time obsessing in Reddit, you know, subreddits about a
communities
vampire, then okay, like that's fine. I would say try going on a date or go do vampire cosplay or something. I'm sure there's tons of that.
And to be fair, I don't know how big this community is. And I don't think I'm even aware of Baldur's Gate 3 or even just Baldur's Gate, like the video game.
It's a big game. I know that Baldur's Gate's big.
Yeah. You know, but I also wonder though, you know, is this going to be like a dangerous combination, and not dangerous in the sense where it's like, we got, you know, sad women just committing suicide in the streets because their laptop broke or something. I don't mean dangerous in that sense, but it's like, you know, will it turbocharge this sort of, you know, fictosexual impulse because of AI? I don't know. It's a weird thing. But also just something to like, you know, it might even die out too. So
I think it'll become no, I don't. I think it'll become more realistic. More realistic, more normal. The AI will only get better. It'll start to simulate real life a lot more, which would be hilarious when it's like you're arguing with your AI vampire about the dishes or something. Like I think that's just the way that we're gonna go, and maybe like a lot of things will come full circle. Like now people now, like for instance, now there's like so many streaming services, people just like, why don't I just get cable again? Like it's just like things are just cyclical, and they'll be like, well, maybe I'll go meet a dude again instead of AI. Like
and it's funny because I mean, like with you can pull up any song you want from any band or any artist you want because of Spotify and YouTube and whatnot. but you know, vinyl has been pretty popular. And then even Kevin Smith kind of was talking about this with movie theaters, where it's like, you know, movie theaters might largely die out, but there will always be some demand for that. But it'll probably be presented as like, hey, here's like a boutique experience. Go to a movie theater.
It's an
Would it be like dating was presented like that? Like, hey, meet a real person the old-fashioned way. It's just like
we'll see. It is again, I think this will just be a topic for us moving forward. There'll be some new creation, and we'll note it. I think what scares me, where I could see this, and then we can move on, this becoming an issue where it's and there have been attempts at this, and like a lot of things, it's people have the right intentions, but and this is a pretty disturbing topic, but it would be like giving pedophiles dolls to you know, enact their fantasies on, so that they don't do it to people. This is like the constant push pull with a lot of subjects. Oh, you let people, you know, buy weed, or you let them gamble, and I've kind of moved on some of those topics. Well, you know, they're going to do it anyway, so we might as well do it safe and regular and all this stuff. I think that's where, you know, if we, and I explore some of my book about like people start enacting their true fantasies on AI, and then that's not good enough.
Right.
So then they need to do it on a real person.
Right.
Where if they didn't get the chance to get that dopamine hit on AI, they would just suffocate it, right? They would just keep it down, like pedophilia stuff. There are like, are they born with it? They're not. I don't care. Like if you are, it's your obligation to not act on it and to bury it as much as possible for your entire life.
Right.
I don't think we should be giving people an outlet for that, because I don't think that those people are satisfied. I think the next logical step for them are to enact it on a person.
Right. Well, either way, I think you and I are kind of blazing some trails here with this with this
What are we
topic.
doing on this podcast? All right, because we forget so often. Oh, are we done with this?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, because we forget so often, let's do some housekeeping stuff.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon. We have 4 different tiers. All have merch. They range from $3 to 20 something, different levels of merch. You can support us that way. If you can also just do what you call buy us a beer, just donate to the pod if you'd like, whatever. It's all on PayPal, whatever amount you'd like. That's all in the show notes. I am the recent co-creator of a trading card game called Scepter TCG. It's a Middle Ages themed card game. If you're interested in it, there will be links also in the show notes. We have a Medium page. Are you moving it to Substack or no?
Yeah, actually, I was just about to say I'm going to be moving that to Substack very soon. So
okay, so be on the lookout for that. We'll be moving it to Substack. I might write something for that soon too, by the way.
Good.
And I have books and all that stuff that you've heard before. Basically, check the show notes, like and subscribe us, and like if you don't want to do any of that, that's totally fine. But please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and share with friends. Just a retweet if it's on Twitter, like all that helps.
Yeah.
So we would appreciate that. Greatly. That really matters to us. We also love hearing from listeners.
Yeah.
If you have what I say, comments, questions, concerns, or complaints, DM one of us, DM the pod, social media, reply, whatever it is, and we'll address it. If there's a topic you want us to discuss, if you have a recommendation for us, we're about to do Reckless Rex. If you have one for us, let us know. If you're a regular listener, kind of know what we're into. So we'd be happy to hear it.
Yeah. And the Substack thing, I'm excited for because you can put articles as well as the podcast on there.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
So that'll be nice. And the layout is just so much better than Medium. Like we'll still be on Medium. I'll still, whatever articles, if people want to contribute there, articles there and publish our own stuff. But I think Substack, we might find a bigger audience there.
Oh yeah. And I moved my movie reviews to Letterboxd. I'm still in the process. I'm on like my last, I did for like 7 years on Medium.
Yeah.
I like Joe. I'll talk to you about that after with some stuff, but I think it's opening up some views for us too.
Yeah.
All right, Reckless Rec, do you have one?
I do.
Hit me with it.
So this filmmaker named Kyle Edward Ball, he's most famous for doing Skinamarink, which I know we've talked about on the film.
Yeah.
So, and I think we were both sort of like, it has some cool scenes, but it's a feature length film, and it's a very repetitive. So, however, the reason why I bring him up though is because he has a YouTube channel, and he hasn't posted on there in a while, but he had the channel is called Bitesized Nightmares. And what's cool about it is that he's got a bunch of very short horror films, like usually like in the 2 to 5 minute long length. And it's still very much in that same style. But what's cool about them is that each one of them is based on a nightmare, often like nightmares that people have submitted to him saying, hey, I had this dream, I woke up. And I saw a figure and I heard a voice, and he films them. And it's cool because they're very short. They're very creepy and very unsettling. And I think the style that Skinamarink is in fits much better in a short format.
Yeah.
Because like each one is just like this weird, bizarre, unsettling style. But when you stretch it out to 90 minutes, it's sort of like, okay, we get it's a very cool atmosphere, but it's creepy, but okay, we've done it. But when it's condensed to 2.5 to 5 minutes long, it's so much more effective.
Okay.
And
Bite-sized Nightmares.
Bite-sized Nightmares, yeah. And so he's got 39 of them, I think. He stopped doing it, which is a bummer. I don't know if he's got any other stuff that he's working on. But yeah, they're pretty cool. They're very stylized, very bizarre, and like very low budget, but like he does a great job of getting a lot of mileage out of like shooting in an empty bedroom, but it's lit in a really weird way. There's bizarre sound effects, there's voiceover, so there's like some context, or there's a little bit of like storytelling around it. But yeah, it's been very inspiring because it's like, how did you make like an empty dining room creepy and unsettling in just 2 minutes?
All right.
So yeah, I highly recommend his channel.
That's cool. I will check out Bite-sized Nightmares.
Yeah. What about you, Benjamin? What you got?
All right. Mine is so for whatever reason, I have an album. It is Armor for Sleep's 2005 album, What to Do When You Are Dead. Are you familiar with this band?
No.
You know Armor for Sleep? Okay. They are like the epitome of mid like 2000s pop punk emo, like I'd say like emo band.
Yeah.
And I've been and like the lead singer, who actually was married to do you ever watch 30 Rock?
I have watched it.
Yeah, Suri, like the hot secretary for
yeah.
Yeah, he was like married to her, which is kind of funny. She's like a tall blonde and he's like this very emo guy.
Yeah.
They're a New Jersey band. So maybe they were a bigger deal here, but they're like very much, whenever someone like does the emo punk voice, like that voice, like that's them. Like they're, I don't like all of these bands, but I don't know why I love Armor for Sleep, especially this album. I like 4 songs from it onto my playlist, and it's just really fun. And I've just been kind of like singing it at my wife recently. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, in a car underwater with time to kill. What hurts more is I would still die for you." It's like that. It's like that, like very antsy, like suburban kid, like suburban teen music. I think it's really fun. Just listen to the first, like, just type in Armor for Sleep and listen to like their first most popular songs, 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun. I'm sure a lot of people like rolling their eyes at it, but it kind of brought me back. I feel like I used to listen to them more. Probably not in like 2005 when this album came out, but probably 5-6 years after that. So probably early 2010s. I was listening to them, and the album covers is classic. It's like very suburbia with like someone rising up to heaven. I don't know. I just love it.
The album cover would look cool without like the suited guy floating.
Yeah.
And part of it is just like, how Photoshop was not very good back then, so it just kind of looks kind of digital, but like, sure. I mean, it is a striking image though. But very much of the era for sure though.
Yeah, I think they're from Ridgewood, New Jersey. That's right. They're very much
Teaneck.
Oh, they're Teaneck. Okay, same area. Yeah, Teaneck, New Jersey. That's like Bergen County. Very like literally Bergen County. I remember we like studied it in college because it's known for like just the kind of carving up suburbia of America, and like that's the county they had what's called like boroughitis. It was like this term that was coined to describe this phenomenon, and Bergen County, New Jersey kind of epitomizes it. It's like all these smallish towns. Some are like bigger. Some, now some are probably bigger. It's actually the most popular county in New Jersey, but it's like all these towns. A lot of them are like between like 5 and 10,000 people, but it's like all carved up all over the place. So give it a listen and let me know what you think.
Well, All right. Okay.
Give
for
it a
you, Ben,
shot.
I'll-
Listen to a few songs. What's that? I'm not asking you to go like read War and Peace. Like listen to a few songs.
I'll do it. I'll do it. But I'm gonna make sure to
Or
close
I
the
can
windows.
just, if you
and
want,
I'm
I can just send you voice memos of me singing it.
I'm gonna close the windows and I'm gonna like erase. I'm gonna listen to it like on my other laptop that I don't use at all.
And there's no evidence of you. You weren't into these bands?
I think I was into Good Charlotte, which is probably the closest I was in, of that type of stuff.
Yeah,
that
I don't really like Good Charlotte.
I was into them, but even then, like I was out of that by the time I was like 14. Like once I got just like between middle school and high school, like I went from like Green Day and Blink-182 and all that stuff, and then I just turned to like classic rock and heavy metal.
Yeah.
And then I've rarely looked back. Once in a while, like I'll put on an album from my youth. But all right, I'll check it just for fun. Like I'll at least listen.
Play and then we'll play Car Underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to that song, and listen to where's the
Feel Real. That sounds like such a
yes. Hold on. Listen to Car Underwater. Oh my, The Truth About Heaven is like, it's honestly, I have it on my playlist, but it's like so fucking emo. Remember to Feel. Listen to a song. Honestly, just listen to song 1 through 4. Like those are the 4 that I added. I'm gonna listen to more. I like those are songs that I remember from 15 years ago. I was listening to.
Okay.
All right, and let me know what you think.
Speaking of New Jersey, real quick. So I write for islands.com, and I actually I wrote a couple of articles about New Jersey actually. So
what? Really?
Yeah. So like specific towns or neighborhoods in New Jersey. So the first one is "Don't go here. This place sucks."
Mm-hmm.
The other one's called no. So this is this one was about Union City. Why you should visit that place because
unless you speak Spanish.
Really, there are a lot of Mexicans in Union City.
I don't think they're Mexicans. But it is like it's a city where like street signs are like stuff's in Spanish.
Ah, interesting.
I think it's a mix. It's probably I don't know. It's all a mix of people, but it's very like their football coach, like their high school football coach speaks Spanish.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I wrote about was Collingswood.
Yeah, that's like a suburb, like that's southwest New Jersey. I think it's very like a nice suburb. Wait, hold on. Why are you sending people to Union City?
So the article is called "A Walkable Hilltop New Jersey City Offers Cafe-Lined Streets, Vibrant Art, and Skyline Strolls." It's like a if you want to like see New York City like from a distance.
I'd probably just go to Hoboken.
Yeah.
Or Jersey City.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was there, and
all right.
It was an easy article to write because there's just not much to recommend about the Garden State.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just kidding. There's great. You got Armor for Sleep.
Yeah. You could go to the home of Armor for Sleep. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Benjamin, this was fun as always.
Fight the crits.
Fight the crits and stay reckless.